The sky was always dark on Exile 9. The sun never touched this planet. It was a place of junk, broken machines, and forgotten people. This was where the aliens sent humans, the ones they called dirty and useless. Among the broken metal and cold winds rain, a 17-year-old human boy walked alone. His clothes were torn, his shoes full of holes, and his face covered with dust, but his eyes still had hope. He lived in a small shelter made from old ship parts. Every day, he searched for food and clean water. Every night, he listened to the sky, because sometimes something fell from above. But today was different. Today, the sky screamed. A metal pod was falling fast, fire trailing behind it. It crashed into the dirt with a loud boom. Rain ran toward it, his heart beating fast. Maybe it's food, he whispered. Maybe something useful. Smoke rose from the crash site. The pod was cracked open, and inside was someone alive. It was a girl, not human. Her skin had a soft silver glow. Her hair floated like it was underwater. She wore a torn battle suit with glowing symbols. Rain's eyes went wide. She's Zelari, he said. The Zelari Empire was one of the most powerful alien races in the galaxy. They hated humans. She was bleeding, weak, but her eyes opened slowly, bright blue, shining like stars. When she saw Rain, she tried to move away. "Don't touch me, human," she whispered. "I'm too dirty." But her hand grabbed his wrist. She never let go. Rain looked at her, confused. "I'm the one who's dirty," he said. "You crashed. You're hurt. Let me help." Her breathing was heavy. "My ship. They shot me." Bounty hunters. Rain didn't understand everything. But he knew one thing. If bounty hunters were coming, they had to hide. He helped her out of the pod. She was light, too light, like a feather. She didn't fight him anymore. He took her to his shelter. It wasn't much, just a broken metal room under a hill, but it was dry and quiet. He laid her down on a soft blanket made from old clothes. She watched him carefully. "Why are you helping me?" she asked. Rain shrugged. "You needed help, that's enough." "But I'm Zelari. Your kind should hate me." Rain sat beside her. "I never met your kind, only heard stories. But I think ... not all stories are true." She was silent. Her name was Zariah, a soldier, a royal one, she said. Her ship was attacked while she was on a secret mission. Now the bounty hunters wanted her alive, or dead. Suddenly, a sound echoed. In the sky, engines. Rain looked up. "They're here." Zariah sat up fast. "We have to move." "Where?" "There's no safe place here." She looked at him. "Then we make one." They packed quickly. Rain grabbed his bag. It only had a few things: water, a tool, and a small, strange cube he had found last year in the junk fields. They ran into the canyons, narrow paths filled with scrap metal walls and sharp turns. Rain knew the way like the back of his hand. Zariah followed, limping but strong. Above them, ships searched the ground with red lights. Zariah winced. "They'll scan for my energy." Rain looked at her. "Can you turn it off?" She touched the symbol on her chest. "It stopped glowing. I hope that's enough." They hid inside an old transport tank, buried half in the ground. Inside, Zariah whispered, "You're brave. For a human." Rain laughed a little. "Thanks, you're not so bad for an alien." She smiled, just a little. The night grew colder. They sat close, trying to stay warm. Zariah's hand was still on his wrist. She didn't move it. "You're different," she said. "Most humans on this planet are broken, angry. You still care." Rain looked at the stars through a crack in the tank. "I don't want to be like them. I want to get off this planet. I want to matter." She stared at him for a long moment. "Maybe you already do." Outside, the ships moved away. For now, they were safe. But the galaxy was watching, and this was just the beginning. Asterisk. The wind howled across Exile 9, somewhere deep in the metal canyons. A silver glow blinked softly in the dark. The small cube Rain carried was pulsing with life. He didn't notice it. Not yet. Rain and Zariah were hiding in an old transport tank, broken and buried in dirt. They had barely escaped the bounty hunters just hours ago. Zariah was still weak. Her alien armor had shut down to hide her energy. Rain kept watch while she slept or tried to, but sleep didn't come. Not on a planet like this. Then sound click. Not from above, from inside the canyon. Rain froze. He leaned out slowly and saw something moving in the dark. Not a ship, not a beast, a hunter drone. Floating, silent, scanning the area with a red light. It had claws sharp enough to tear through steel. Rain whispered, "Zariah, wake up." She opened her eyes. Her hand went to her belt. No weapon. "I can't fight," she whispered. "We hide?" But the cube in Rain's bag suddenly glowed bright blue. The drone immediately turned. It had found them. Rain grabbed Zariah's hand. "Run." They jumped out of the tank and ran through the metal maze. Feet crashing over pipes and broken wires, the drone gave chase. Faster than them, Zariah turned back. "We'll never outrun it." Rain looked down at the cube in his bag. It was almost burning hot now. "I think it wants me to use it," he said. Zariah's eyes widened. "That's ancient tech. We don't even know what it does." "I don't care," Rain shouted. "If we don't try, we're dead anyway." He stopped, turned, and pulled the cube from his bag. The drone was just meters away. Rain shouted, "Do something!" The cube responded. It floated into the air, spinning fast, then released a blast of blue light in every direction. The drone stopped, frozen, then shattered into pieces like glass. Rayn and Zariah stood in silence, eyes wide. "What was that?" he asked, breathing hard. Zariah stepped forward slowly. "This cube. It recognizes you. That should be impossible." "Why?" "Because only ancient humans used that tech. They were gone long ago. The Empire made sure of it." Rain looked at the cube as it slowly lowered back into his hand, now cool and quiet. "I don't think they're gone," he said. Zariah stared at him, her voice barely above a whisper. "Then that means you're one of them." Rain shook his head. "I'm just a junk rat. I was born here. Maybe, but your blood, your mind might be different." They moved on deeper into the canyons. Rain noticed that Zariah walked closer now. She didn't look down on him anymore. As the sunless sky grew darker, they reached a hidden place, an old bunker Rain had never seen before, but the cube glowed again. It led them there. Inside was a small room with strange symbols on the walls. Machines long dead. But one, just one, blinked faintly. Zariah touched the console. "This is ancient tech." "It's waiting for a code." Rain stepped forward. The console scanned his face. Then it spoke. "Human signal detected. Access granted." Zariah took a step back. "Impossible." The machine lit up fully and a hologram appeared. A man in old human armor, his face kind but strong. "If you found this," the hologram said, "then the bloodline lives. The enemy still controls the stars, but the Titan core sleeps. Beneath the planet it needs a key, a human key." Zariah turned to Rain. "You're the key." Rain backed away. "I didn't ask for this." "Doesn't matter," she said. "The galaxy might not care what you want, but it will care what you are." Before Rain could answer, another alarm blared. Zariah's face went pale. "They found us again." Outside, shadows moved across the canyon walls. More drones. Bigger. This time, with them came a ship. Rain clenched his fists. "I don't want to run forever." Zariah pulled him back. "Then learn to fight." Cliffhanger, end of part 2. Rain looked at the cube, then at Zariah. A voice echoed in his mind. Not from the machine, but from inside him. "Remember who you were." The machine had stopped speaking, but its words still echoed inside Rain's head. "The Titan core sleeps, waiting for the key." Rain wasn't sure what that meant. He didn't feel like a key. He didn't feel like anything special. Just a boy, dirty, tired, unwanted, born on a planet made of trash. But something inside him was waking up. And it scared him one day earlier. Zariah stood at the edge of a cliff, high above the junk fields of Exile 9. The wind tugged at her silver hair. Her body was weak, but her thoughts were strong, full of doubt. She was trained to hate humans, to see them as less, but Rain kept breaking the rules in her head. he risked his life to save hers. He never asked for anything. And that cube, that ancient cube, responded to him. Was it possible? Could the blood of the ancients really be alive in that boy? He doesn't even know what he is, she whispered. Behind her, Rain climbed up from the bunker, holding the cube in his hand. Talking to yourself? He asked. Zariah smiled a little. Sometimes that's the only voice I trust, present moment. They walked through the wastelands, following the cube's pulsing light. It was guiding them towards something buried deep in the ground. Suddenly, Rain stopped. He saw something in the dirt, bones. Human bones. Beside them, a metal chest half buried. He pulled it out and opened it. Inside, a suit of armor, cracked and old, but still glowing. A symbol on the chest, same as the mark glowing on Rain's palm. A short message burned into the inside. For the next one. The last one. Zariah knelt beside him. This belonged to a prime commander, she said. One of the last human leaders before the Zalari destroyed them. Rain looked at the armor. I'm not a leader, he said. I'm not even a fighter. Zariah touched his shoulder. You don't get to choose what you are anymore. They followed the cube's signal into a canyon where the rocks looked melted. The ground was burned. Black glass, strange trees turned to stone, ancient wreckage all around. This was a battlefield, Zariah said. From the human rebellion, thousands died here. Rain felt dizzy. He dropped to his knees, flashes in his head, not dreams. Memories. Soldiers shouting, machines burning. A giant machine rising from the ground, bigger than any ship he'd seen. He grabbed his head, sweating. Zariah leaned over. Rain? What's wrong? I think I was here, he said softly. But not me, someone like me. She looked at him with shock. You're unlocking genetic memory, she whispered. Your ancestors passed it to you. It's inside your blood. Before they could speak more, the ground trembled. From the melted hills, a mechanical beast rose, Zalari tech. A guard drone left behind to protect the battlefield. Rain stood, chest pounding. The cube floated into the air, linking with the armor. Then, piece by piece, the armor rebuilt itself onto Rain's body. It covered him in light, reshaped to fit him perfectly. Zariah watched in silence. You're becoming one of them, she sighed, an ancient. The beast attacked, fast and loud. Rain didn't move. His eyes were glowing now, the same blue as the cube. He raised one hand. The beast stopped mid-air, frozen, then crumbled into dust. Zariah stepped back. Rain. What did you do? Rain didn't answer. His voice was deeper now. Not just his own. This power. It remembers me. He looked down at his hands. It's too much, he whispered. It's not just strength, it's everything. Zariah walked slowly toward him. You're not just a boy anymore. Rain looked at her. But if I use this power, will I still be me? Asterisk above them, hidden in the clouds, a satellite blinked. A signal was sent. In a dark room far away, a voice answered. The ancient weapon has awakened. Send the death fleet? Asterisk it began with a dream. Rain was standing in the middle of a starless sky. All around him, silence. But beneath his feet he could feel something alive. Something breathing. A deep voice echoed, Come find me. Or they will. Rain opened his eyes with a sharp breath. He was lying in a cold stone room, deep underground. Zariah sat beside him, her armor faintly glowing again. You were shaking, she said softly, talking in your sleep. Rain looked at his hand. The blue mark on his palm was now brighter, pulsing like a heartbeat. I saw it again, he whispered. The voice, the core. Zariah's face turned serious. Then we don't have much time. The descent begins. They were deep inside, an ancient human facility hidden beneath the battlefield, a place only the cube could open, stone, steel, and silence. Symbols older than the Zalari Empire were carved into the walls. Zariah walked slowly, hand on her weapon. This place shouldn't exist, she said. The Empire erased every record of the Titan Core. Rain glanced at her. What is it, really? She looked ahead, eyes full of fear. A machine, a god, a curse, no one really knows. Except that the last time it awakened, it destroyed 3 planets. Rain swallowed hard. Then why bring me here? Because now, the galaxy knows you exist. Meanwhile, far away high, above Exile 9 in orbit, a massive ship came out of warp. Sharp like a blade, blacker than space. Inside stood Commander Vale, the Empire's top hunter. His eyes were cold, emotionless. Begin scan, he ordered. A red light flashed. Target locked, human energy level, class Omega. Commander Vale raised an eyebrow. So the stories were true. The ancients live again. He smiled. Then, let's kill the past. One last time. Back underground. Rain and Zariah reached a large, round door. The cube floated forward and spun rapidly. The door slowly opened, not with gears but with light. It led into a giant hall, filled with machines that hadn't moved in 1,000 years. In the center was a crystal throne, and under it, black pit. The cube hovered over the pit. Rain felt drawn to it. He walked slowly, his armor lighting with every step. As he neared the pit, a voice boomed, not from outside, but from within him. Welcome, bearer of the flame. Do you choose to awaken me? Rain froze. Zariah stepped forward. Don't answer yet. I have to, he said. Why? You don't even know what it will do to you. Rain turned to her. His voice was calm, too calm, because it already is doing something to me. He looked back at the pit. I see. Things, feel things. The core is part of me now. He stepped onto the edge and whispered, I choose. The core awakens. The pit lit up like a star exploding. Beams of golden energy shot into the ceiling. Machines roared to life. Ancient systems screamed after centuries of silence. Rain fell to his knees as energy surged through his body. The armor on his chest cracked open, revealing his real skin, glowing like fire under glass. Zariah rushed to him, holding his face. Rain, stay with me, his voice echoed, mixed with 100 others. I am not just me anymore. Suddenly, the room darkened. And then, silence again. Cliffhanger, end of part 4. Zariah helped Rain to his feet, but as they turned to leave, they heard a sound, the distant, heavy thud of a ship landing above, and a deep voice, broadcast across the planet. Reign of the Ancients. This is Commander Vale. Surrender or we burn this world. Zariah looked at Rain. He didn't speak. He just stepped forward. And the core followed him. Rain was falling, but not the kind that cleaned the air. This rain was black, thick drops, falling from the sky, smelling of fire and ash. War had come to exiled-9.ry and stood at the entrance of the old human facility, his armor still humming with core energy. Behind him, machines from another age were waking up. Beside him, Zariah was silent, but tense. She wasn't looking at the sky, she was looking at him, hours earlier. A secret message had come through her broken comlink. The voice on the other end chilled her blood. Zariah, this is your brother. Commander Vale is coming. You've touched the core, you're no longer clean. Help us take the human, or die with him. Zariah hadn't told Rain, not yet. She told herself she was protecting him, but deep down she knew she was lying to him and to herself, present. Above them, black ships broke through the clouds, massive Zalari war vessels. The Death Fleet. Rain's eyes followed their descent. They're not coming to capture me, are they? He asked. Zariah didn't answer. Tell me, he said again. Quieter this time. She closed her eyes. Then whispered, they're coming for both of us. The choice. They returned inside the ancient chamber. Rain sat beside the core, hands shaking. I don't want this power, he said. I didn't want to betray you, she replied. He looked at her. And for the first time since they met, his eyes were not confused, but calm. I know you called them. Zariah's breath caught. How? He tapped the side of his head. The core doesn't just wake machines, it shows me truth. She dropped to her knees. I was scared. I thought I could keep you safe if I gave you up. But now I know they'll just kill you. And you? He asked. Zariah smiled sadly. They already decided I'm contaminated. I touched a human. I believed in one. The arrival of the ground shook as the Death Fleet landed from the lead ship. Commander Vale stepped down, tall, armored, his face like carved ice. Behind him marched soldiers in silver armor. They moved without sound. Without emotion, Vale spoke loud and clear. Reign of the ancients, you are an error, a disease. Come forward, now. Rain stepped outside, Zariah beside him. Rain's voice was steady. I am not a weapon. Commander. Vale raised his hand. You are unfinished. We'll fix that by burning you to ash. The soldiers raised their guns. Rain raised nothing. Instead, the ground itself began to move. Old human tech, long buried, rose up around him. Turrets, drones, armored machines, connected to the core inside him. They obeyed only him. Betrayal strikes again suddenly. A blast. Zariah screamed. She looked down. A shot had hit her in the side, not from the Zalari, from one of Rain's machines. Rain turned, shocked. I didn't command that. I didn't. Zariah fell to her knees. Her eyes full of pain, not from the wound, but from the truth. You're losing control. Rain rushed to her, catching her before she fell. The core inside him pulsed. Violently, glowing red now. Too much emotion, said a voice in his head. Control it, or I will. Rain whispered, no, you don't get to decide. But the line between Rain and the core was fading. Zariah, blood on her lips, held Rain's hand weakly. Don't let it take you, she whispered. Rain looked up, his eyes glowing bright, his voice layered with something ancient and cold. I may be human, but I'm not only human anymore. Above them, Commander Vale gave the order, fire everything. It felt like time had stopped. Rain was kneeling in the dirt. Smoke rose around him. Zariah's blood stained his hands. Behind him, the ancient core still pulsed with wild energy. It had saved him. It had armed him. But now it wanted to own him. Seconds earlier, the Zalari soldiers had fired everything. Flames, plasma, shockwaves, but none of it touched Rain. The machines around him blocked every blast. Not because he told them to, because they felt his rage. Now, they waited, silent, ready to kill. All Rain had to do was say one word. Zariah's voice, don't, she whispered. Rain turned to her, his eyes glowing so bright they looked inhuman. You're hurt. They hurt you, they'll pay. She shook her head weakly. Then you're no better than them. Rain clenched his fists. I don't care anymore. But he did. Somewhere deep, he cared too much. The core fed on that pain, every memory, every tear, every moment he had felt weak, dirty, hated. And now it offered one thing, become something more, something perfect. Rain stood above the battlefield. Commander Vale watched through his visor, amused. He's merging with the core, he said. Good, let him. The more power he takes, the faster it will burn him from the inside. An officer beside him spoke nervously. Sir, the human forces, silence, Vale said. He's not human anymore. Within Rain's world around him faded. He was inside a mind space, white, infinite, cold, across. From him stood a figure made of light and shadow, part machine, part human. I am the first core, it said. I made your ancestors powerful. Now I offer you the same. Remove pain, remove doubt, become more. Rain stared at it. But if I lose my pain, I lose my reason to fight. The core tilted its head. Emotion is weakness. Rain shook his head. No, emotion is why I chose to help Zariah. Why I chose to survive. Why I chose to be different. Back in Rioletta, Rain opened his eyes. The glow in his body faded, not gone, but controlled. Zariah, still alive, reached for his hand. He held it tight. Commander Vale stepped forward from his army. So the monster speaks again. Rain looked him in the eye. I'm not a monster. Vale raised a hand. We'll fix that. Rain took a step forward. The core-powered machines behind him followed like wolves, but he raised a hand, stopping them. This fight is mine. Human versus Imperian walked alone into the field. No machines. No guns. Just him. Vale laughed. You think you can fight? Me? I've killed hundreds like you. Rain replied calmly. No, you've killed broken people. I'm not broken anymore. They clashed. Rain moved like lightning, not because of the core, but because he had finally accepted who he was. Every punch from Vale hit hard, But Rain got back up. Again and again, because humans always do. Cliffhanger. End of part 6. Rain stood over Vale, the commander defeated, his armor shattered. Behind him, the soldiers hesitated, one by one. They dropped their weapons. Zariah limped to Rain's side. She looked up at him, smiling through pain. You did it? Rain nodded. I didn't destroy them. I gave them a choice. Then the sky cracked. A new ship appeared, larger, older. Not Zellery. Zariah's face turned pale. That's not the Empire. Rain looked up. Then who is it? Asterisk snow was falling, but not from the sky. Tiny flakes of ash floated down from burning clouds. Like memories from a war too old to forget, Rain stood beneath it, not as a prisoner. Not as a weapon, but as a choice. Moments earlier, the unknown ship had descended like a shadow over Exile 9. It made no sound. It needed none. Its design was different, older than the Empire, older than even the ancients. Rain and Zariah watched in silence as it hovered above them. A voice rang out, clear and cold, from the ship's core. Human, you have awakened the Titan core. Step forward. Judgment begins now. Zariah stepped in front of Rain. Who are they? She whispered. He shook his head. I don't know, but I think they're the ones who created the core. The council of the old ones inside the ship. Rain stood in a circle of light. Surrounding him were 3 beings, not alive, not machine. Something between. They had no faces, only voices. We made the core to protect humanity, they said. But when power became pride, pride became war, we erased it. Rain clenched his fists. I'm not them. And yet you carry the same flame. Zariah stood beside him. She was weak, still bleeding, but never let go of his hand. He helped me, she said. He saved me, not because he had to. Because he still feels. The beings turned to her. Alien, you are not of the bloodline. Why defend him? Zariah's voice shook. Because even when I was cruel to him, he held my hand, even when I called him dirty. He didn't let go. Rain turned toward them. You made the core to protect humans. But emotion, love, fear, hope, that's what makes us worth protecting. Then show us, they said. Use the core one last time. Not to destroy, but to create. The Titan Core's final choice. Rain stood at the edge of the ruins. The battlefield behind him was scorched. The machines silent. He closed his eyes and reached inward, not for power, but for memory. His mother's laugh. His first time seeing stars. Zariah's hand in his. The core answered. A wave of light spread across the planet, blue and warm. Touching every broken place, every scar. It didn't burn. It healed. Ruins lifted. Air cleared. The machines powered down peacefully. Aftermath. The council spoke one last time. You are not the weapon. You are the proof that humanity has evolved. Then they vanished, their ship disappearing into silence. Rain fell to his knees. Exhausted, Zariah knelt beside him, holding his face gently. You did it, she said. He looked at her, eyes full of tears. I didn't do it alone, she smiled. I never let go. He laughed through the pain. I noticed. Epilogue. Months later, Exile 9 bloomed. Where once there was only trash and war, now green plants grew. The core had rewritten the land. Zariah stood in the new fields, helping former prisoners rebuild homes. Rain walked beside her, not as a savior, but as a friend, a leader, and a human who had stayed human, even when he could have become a god. As the sun finally broke through the clouds for the first time in centuries, Zariah reached for his hand. He took it without fear, without shame. And this time, neither of them let go.